Hello, my name is Joshua Keith, and this is theburningcoal.com, a website dedicated to God's glory, His grace, and our response to it. Today we're going to be talking about being thankful for a rock. For this one, we're going to actually look to David and what he has to say in Psalm 18. In verse 2 of the 18th Psalm, it says, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, the horn of my salvation, my stronghold." Now, there are quite a few things here that David actually references, quite a few images he uses. But the first one that he starts with is the idea of the rock. And so I think that as we look through this, we see that a lot of these actually relate back to the idea of being a rock for us. And there's a lot of encouragement that we can take from what David says here. So, some of the things that this rock is for us is, first of all, it's a foundation. It's what we build our lives off of. And I think that this is really important for us to remember because a lot of times we can get focused on building our foundation on the world. Our lives become based on worldly things, physical things, our jobs, our families, our friends. And when that winds up happening, one of the things that's unfortunate about that type of foundation is that it is temporal. No matter their best intentions, all of those things are only temporary. They cannot be a foundation that can get you through absolutely everything. And so having God as a rock, so that when everything else in your life is stripped away, when things are not going right, whenever you don't know what to do or where to turn, you know that you have a rock, that you are on a foundation that is strong and powerful. Even more so, we see that it is a refuge. If you look at the language that David uses here, he talks about God as this rock that's this fortress that he's going to be in. And I think this is really powerful, especially because of the notation at the beginning of the psalm, which tells us that David is going through a victory over his enemies, including Saul. And God is leading him through all of that and providing him protection. And so when David talks about this idea of the rock, of the fortress, he's talking about a refuge. Because again, think about David's situation. He has these other people that are his enemies. The Philistines hate him. The enemies of Israel hate him because he has gone against them. He has been their enemy since Goliath came on the scene. But now his own king is also turned against him, Saul. Where can he go? Where can he turn to? How can he find safety? He finds safety in his God. And so God is our rock. He is a refuge that we can go into for shelter when everything else is coming against us. And it is not just a place of safety, although it is definitely that, but it is also a place of victory. As David says, God is his fortress, and that fortress is the song of his victory, the horn of his salvation. And so he is going to be delivered by God. And what's going to happen is the enemies of David are going to bash themselves against the rock, and they are going to fail. Because the rock that God provides is unbeatable. It cannot be destroyed. And so it's important for us to be thankful for this rock that we have and to remember that God is that rock for us, because we are going to go through hard times. We are going to go through our enemies being all around us. But it's okay, because we have a rock which is our foundation, our refuge, and our salvation. I hope this lesson blesses you in your walk in His kingdom.